What happened to the Cyclones?
I'm not saying a goddamn word. No. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to relive it. I've avoided everything. I've been brought in on work slacks. Hey, can you give this edit a look-see? No, I'm emotionally unavailable right now.
Most brutal of losses.
Well, can you tell me what happened though? I don't know what happened.
I would say, put it in baseball terms, we walked in the game-winning run in extra innings.
We choked. We choked it away.
Balked. Okay, balked, actually. We balked it in.
We had a 5-1 lead in the sixth set, and we blew that. And then we went to a tiebreaker. We battled back from down 4-3 in the tiebreaker set to make a double championship point. Everything on the line, 1 point to rule them all, 5-5. And Dan, we double faulted at 5-5.
We had the serve.
The championship was won on a double fault.
It stunk. And it was close. And it was like there was like a 4-minute period where we were like, did they screw that call up?
The ball was in, Chris. The ball was in.
No. I mean, Roy, live, it seemed like it just touched the line. And we're going with our iPhones to the commissioner of the sport. Is this in? He went back to the replay center, says it was out. And I think it was out too. And it's just.
I may have grabbed the commissioner by the shirt.
It was 1 point for the championship?
We went through the 6 sets. We were tied 3-3. And so you go to a championship tiebreaker.
So it's 1 game to 6, and it ended up 5-5.
It was Division I versus Division I. Best on best. It went all the way to 5-5. First to 6 points wins. We were serving for the championship, and we double faulted.
I just fell to my knees.
Brutal. Same.
Sounds embarrassing.
And then grabbed the commissioner by the lapel.
I was just like, that was out like that. We got to be able to review that. I mean, I didn't grab his shirt. It was more just like a shoulder, like, how can we not review that?
Many are calling it the best battlecourt match ever played. Certainly the most memorable, and a finish that you don't often see. I'm not embarrassed. I'm super proud of the boys. That was the best team in highlight versus the second best team in highlight, and it went down to the very last possible point. It just sucks that we don't get to see that point play out, and we lose it on a double fault, a really close double fault.
So the best team didn't win?
No, the best team did win. The top seed won. And credit to the Chargers. Kay Marie finally wins her first championship. It was at our expense. Just a huge rip your heart out of your chest type of loss. I know a lot of highlight here is a bit, and maybe not everyone's drawn into the sport. Chris and I are totally drawn in. And, we were crestfallen. That really stunk. That was a painful sports loss for us.
Now, after something that was probably positive for Mike's bar, but didn't sit well with me, the other team came to Las Rosas to celebrate. Brought the trophy.
At Mike's bar? So did what Josh Hart did to the Sixers yesterday.
Mike's bar is the live of High Lie.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah. You know how all of hockey celebrates at Club 11? That's what battlecourt does. Yeah, battlecourt, you win the battlecourt championship, you celebrate at Las Rosas. So you give some grace there. But
it hurt.
To sheepishly walk in with a trophy in your hand.
Manu not happy.
You leave the trophy in the car. You don't bring the trophy there. That's bad sportsmanship.
At one point, Manu grabbed their trophy from their table, just put it in the corner of the bar, and they were too afraid to go grab it.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Do you need to leave the trophy in the car? But just for the record, what you guys are saying is the championship winners of Highlight Battlecourt were basically, as it was being decided, watching just like the rest of you and not having to actually do anything because it was just self-inflicted, double fault on the serve. 2 bad serves ends up finishing your season. Mm-hmm. So the champions didn't have to do anything. Could have not had cestas. Could have been on the court on the final point and not had cestas.
Why are you trying to make it more embarrassing and heartbreaking for us?
Basketball is back, Jack. Time for our favorite winter sport. The summertime is over, so let's head down to the court. Time for the tip ball. Give me fast breaks on the attack. Will you shoot a 3 or take it to the rack? Basketball is back, Jack. It's a dream shake down in the post, or a killer cross you love the most. When the offense tries to run and gun, Is it man-to-man or boxing one? It's big plays and talking smack. That's how you know that basketball is back, Jack. Let me hear you say, basketball, basketball, basketball. Basketball is back, Jack. 360 dunks and pick and rolls. And we're gonna watch it every day till they raise the Larry O. Hard fouls and hook shots. A dagger three and hack a shack. If you say this game's the best, I'll say's a gag. Basketball is back, Jack. Basketball is back, Jack. Basketball is back. Basketball is back, Jack.
While I was gone in Los Angeles, we won a what?
Pulitzer.
I think it's a Pulitzer.
Yes.
Can you guys look up for me? Because I want to make sure I have this right. Look this up for me, because Meadowlark Media winning a Pulitzer, I cannot explain to people the size of this achievement, even though I don't believe that anybody cares. I really don't believe. I heard from precious few people, even in journalism, about the fact that I think Meadowlark Media has now done something. You look it up for me. I don't think ABC News has ever won a Pulitzer in its history. I don't think NBC News has ever won a Pulitzer in its history. I don't think CNN, USA Today, the BBC, Time Magazine, just giant media entities that have been around forever, I don't think have ever won a Pulitzer. When I tell you guys,
OAN,
what are the big, Fox News has never won a Pulitzer, obviously.
Newsmax,
If ABC
Drudge Report.
if ABC News hasn't won a Pulitzer, does that mean that Disney hasn't won a Pulitzer in any of the entities that it owns? Just check AI real quick to find out
I'm looking it up, Dan.
if Disney has ever won a Pulitzer in any category. But when you think of the big prizes that can be won in America or around the world, obviously the Nobel Peace Prize is the biggest. But when you think of
Kill Tony.
prizes, giant prizes, what are the giant prizes in America that come with some reputation? Because I don't believe
Battlecourt.
people care about this one anymore.
No, because people don't care about journalism all that much. So congratulations on winning a death rattle, Dan. I would rather have a New Times Award, to be honest. Those have been harder to come by lately.
We need to get Zoe out of there, out of the lottery. We need to.
You want to talk about hard to come by? This is, I went back and forth because I understand that the Heat's cultural mindset means that, ultimately they deserve a higher pick because they're keeping the spirit of sportsmanship and integrity alive by trying to win. But the Heat, in reality, got exactly what they deserved. Half in, half out, a total misjudge of their team, a misread. And you hope for some luck. And when you're hoping for some luck, it doesn't go your way. This is, it's objectively funny that somehow the Florida Panthers have a higher draft pick than the Miami Heat. Nuts.
I was on my way home last night driving back from Orlando. I had quite the weekend, Dan. And we were watching on my phone in the car the draft lottery. And we are hyping it up. Me and my son in the front seat, we're super excited for it. For like 15 minutes, we are hyping up. If this envelope opens up and it doesn't say the Heat, we're in business here. Like we were on fire for like a good 10 minutes.
Did you end your trip early for this?
No. That's not necessary, okay? And we're watching the car, and then they open up the 14th envelope. We're like, don't be the Heat. And it's the Hornets. Okay, we're in business now. And then they open up the 13th envelope, and it's got the Heat logo, and like it was all over so fast. It was so disappointing.
And it's such a bad pick because you look at this draft, like, give me top 7. I don't even want number one.
Jay Billis tells me it's a great draft.
Let me
He's
move
gonna
up.
get
Let me
someone
move up, please. The Miami Heat never move up in the lottery.
Dan, in the history of the organization, now granted, they're not in the lottery very often. Like the last time they were in the lottery before this year was 2019, 2017, 2015, 2008. They're never in the lottery, okay? But of the 12 times in franchise history that the Heat have been in the lottery, they have never moved up. When they've been in the top 3, they've dropped down. Like in 2008, they dropped down from 1 to 2. And other years when they've been outside the top 3, now they draw 4. They have never had their number called.
Aren't they empirically the unluckiest team in the history of the ping pong balls?
Yeah, they've never, ever moved up.
So do you have to get Zoe out of there?
Yes. Yeah, it's 4 straight years he's been the rep. Now, granted, no rep for the Heat has ever found the lottery luck, but Zoe's been there 4 times. They never, let's shake it up.
But Zoe, as a player, was famously either stoic or bothered. We keep sending stoic or bothered to the lottery, and the image I have of Zoe at the lottery is him just crushed every time, sitting up there as their good luck charm and bringing them absolutely no good luck. But a great figure to have representing your franchise, a top 5 player in franchise history.
But unlucky one, Dan. Like, the whole point is we got to get luck. Send Bernie. Mike said send Mike B. Like, send somebody.
Mike B would have been good.
And by the way, like in Alonzo Mourning's prime with the Miami Heat, the team was unlucky.
You can't say Mike B would be a good choice. Regionally, he would be a good choice. Nationally, he would not be a good choice. My father, one year, there was a local push to get my father in there as somebody who would be a bit of a.
Is your dad lucky?
A bit of a mascot. Yeah, I would say that my father is somebody who is luckier than Zoe, but that's not saying much. Zoe represents the face of the unluckiest thing in the history of ping pong balls.
Who was the strangest person you saw representing their team? Because I'll tell you, I was taken aback when Vince Carter was repping the Nets. I'm like, oh yeah, he played for the Nets.
Yeah, with the Nets was
weird, right?
A couple years ago, I know she's married to the owner, but the lady that was the love interest in the Lost Boys and in Twister, she represented the Hawks.
What?
Oh,
yeah. And I was like, wait a second, where do I know her from?
Oh, yes, that's right. That's right, with the black hair. I know who you're talking
I
about.
like her in
She was
Twister.
dating Bill Paxton and was very on to the connection that he had with Helen Hunt. And, you know, at a certain point, she's like, I understand what's going on here. You guys were made for each
There
other.
was something about her in Twister.
When you guys talk about the sadness involved with the Heat in the draft, it is a little stark, okay, to see what's happened over the last 4 years when you just rewind to where the Knicks were 4 years ago when they were playing the Heat in the playoffs and you knew they weren't going to get past the Heat. You knew that Jalen Brunson was not enough, and then they add Karl Anthony Towns because they knew that Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle weren't going to be enough. And so to see what the Knicks are presently doing, it is simply crazy to me to see something in a Knicks uniform playing this way, where they are winning 3 straight playoff games by more than 25 points. No one's ever done that. The Knicks have won 7 straight playoff games.
They're awesome.
This is a franchise I associate basically this entire century with almost a total incompetence. But to see exactly what I'm telling you, which is you saw that Jalen Brunson did not have enough to get past the Heat, to see over the last 4 years the way that the management of the Knicks has done the correct things and the management of the Heat have not done the correct things. It's nuts to see what's at the top of that conference now.
I don't think it's too different from where the Heat were with Jimmy Butler. I think Jalen Brunson's one of those superstars. Can you really win a title with him as your best player? Probably not. You have to really surround him with a lot of talent to get it right. I think they've made a lot of moves, ballsy moves, even moves that you could look back and say probably an overreach, but moves that they felt like they had to make, and they've certainly put pieces around them.
But they've stepped up. Those pieces have stepped up. OG Anunoby's been awesome. I know
Crazy.
he got hurt.
He's been an all-star for about 2 months. Like he's been playing like an all-star. Being their third best player makes them so much better than Josh Hart being lovable third best player.
I mean, can't we say, though, that the Knicks over the last few seasons, Towns, Anunoby, Bridges, they're very aggressive while the Heat are very conservative.
Well, where do they go from here? Where do you have the Heat going from here? Because
Giannis.
Yeah, but at this point, I feel like the worry or concern around Giannis's body makes that somehow less attractive and exciting than it would have been 4 months ago, a year ago, a year and a half ago. There's something about that feels like it's going to somehow be anticlimax, even if they do get him. And now what you have that you did not have at the trade deadline is now Boston's really in the game for Giannis, and they have pieces that can take Giannis that Miami doesn't have, which is problematic when you have that happening inside of the conference.
When you think you have the best hand and then somebody all of a sudden comes into the table and they've got a better hand, you're looking around saying, all right, well, are the couple of picks, maybe Tyler Hero, maybe Jovic, maybe somebody better than a Jaylen Brown package or picks from Atlanta?
You were hoping to get better, or at least have a better stockpile of assets to go pursue the a championship piece such as Giannis.
They do though, because this pick is now available for trade.
Yeah, this is a tradable pick, and you wanted something that would probably give you a few more options. But also, I look at the other teams that are ahead of them in the draft lottery. They all got better hands than the Miami Heat. They all improved their chances at getting those same type of superstars too. I mean, you look at the lay of the land. Let's start right at the top. I think you just got passed by the Wizards. The Wizards were a team that made some moves. I know look, Atlanta got way better by getting rid of Trae Young, and Anthony Davis is a very bizarre player. But that's enough to get to the playoffs in the East. And now you add the number 1 pick, and you consider their young pieces. They're actually rewarded for their effort against Bam. It's crazy, but I think you're even further away in the East as presently constituted now than you were before that lottery.
Yeah, I think Boston. I think Boston is going to make a very serious play for Giannis. It's a team that over the last few years, again, has been very aggressive in making moves, while the Heat are very conservative. You know, the Heat consistently like their team, while you have good teams like the Knicks who were good, and then they made a big trade. Teams like the Celtics who were good, and then they made a big trade. The Heat sit back. We like our team. You know, I think Boston is going to make a big play. But the thing is, Dan, like, Giannis is going to have a little bit of a say. If, like, Kevin Garnett initially destroyed the trade to Boston. He said he would not go play for the Celtics. And then it took convincing, and then he finally agreed to it. Like, there is a very real world where Giannis is, I don't want to play in Boston.
Well, what are you guys doing here with Anthony Davis? Because when you make the Wizards good because you're assuming Anthony Davis is their best player and you're counting on Anthony Davis' health, if I frame for you right now, hey, the Heat are in the market for Joel Embiid, do you even want that?
No.
Damaged goods.
No.
Okay, but so why are you doing that with Anthony Davis?
I could be talked into Joel Embiid. I could be talked in.
But what are you doing where you're making Anthony Davis somehow healthier than Joel Embiid, where you're giving the Wizards something in Anthony Davis that you wouldn't even want playing on the Heat?
I'm not making him healthier than Joel Embiid. I just think that they've done a lot of things with their roster. They have young pieces, and with the number 1 pick, especially with a defensive anchor like Anthony Davis playing alongside him, I think the Wizards are probably better than the Miami Heat, and that shouldn't be shocking because, Dan, the Miami Heat are not a good basketball team.
That's crazy.
They're a
What
bad
you're saying-
basketball
what you're
team.
saying is crazy.
And if you want to look, let's not even have the conversation with the Wizards because we'll disagree on whether or not the Wizards are a playoff team next year. I think what the model is what happened to the Chicago Bulls. The Chicago Bulls played a little of this season and realized, look, we're perpetually in this group with the Miami Heat and Atlanta Hawks. Now, look at the moves that Atlanta made, too. Those two teams made a decision. And those two teams are now better positioned in the East than Miami is. And it's not by a little. Chicago got rewarded for their decision to make the right eval on their roster that wasn't good enough, and now they have the number 4 pick.
You correct that, though, if you get Giannis, right? You're no longer saying Washington. Like, you're making – Washington was dreadful last year. Like, really bad, obviously, you know, the worst record in the league. But also you saw Bam put up 83 against them. And what they were throwing on the court the last half of the season was not a professional basketball team.
But again, with the Giannis thing, like, if Chicago decides internally they want – I know they're not there right now. And their franchise may be headed in a different direction. But if Chicago said, hey, we want to make a play for Giannis, that team is just 90 minutes away. He practically lives closer to our arena than he does to Milwaukee's. Chicago now has a better hand than Miami. They got young players on their team, and they have a much more attractive pick at number 4 where you can get a perennial all-star.
The Wizards lost 27 out of 28 games to end the season.
They lost 60 games this year, right?
That was a basketball team at the end that was NBA in name only, wearing an NBA uniform in name only. And all of the tankers were rewarded except for the Pacers, correct?
Brooklyn,
oh, my
too.
God. Brooklyn got screwed. Brooklyn always gets screwed. When is Brooklyn going to decide, you know what, every year they start playing, and every year we have multiple teams jump us? They suck.
Well, also, how about don't take 7 guards last year in
Yeah.
the draft? How about that?
Brooklyn sucks. They get screwed every year. Dan, what happened to the Pacers yesterday? Oh, my God. That's so bad. Like, your entire season, Tyrese Halliburton, okay, he's out, so this is going to be a year where we're going to stink. But, man, like, if we get a top pick and then we come back in, we got Halliburton as well, holy shit, it's going to be so worth it. They ended up, not that they got jumped by other teams and they're picking, like, 7 like Brooklyn is, or 6. They got nothing. They don't have their pick anymore because they took a huge gamble in the Zubats trade and making it top 4, which, look, the odds were on their side to keep the top 4, and they were also going to have Zubats. And now they lose the pick altogether. Total disaster for
Well,
Indiana.
here is the disaster for the Heat, though, because what is in play now, given what's happened with the playoffs and what I assume is about to have happen to Cleveland, you not only have that the Celtics can offer Brown or Tatum if they want to do that for Giannis. I don't know how they can get Giannis without giving up Jaylen Brown, but maybe they can. The Cavs can offer Mobley and 3 number 1s. So the path for the Heat would be to trade Bam, and they're not going to do it. And so if they don't do it, they're going to get outbid.
If teams are in, if Giannis expands the tent of teams that he is willing to go play for, let's just say he makes it a full meritocracy and he can go anywhere inside that Eastern Conference, the Miami Heat do not have the best hand if everybody puts forth the best hand. They were the only team willing to go as far as they did by all reputable accounts. They finished second to, let's just stay here and assess what our options are come draft time. That's not the case anymore. Everybody that would be in on Giannis, I feel like, improved their hands. And it's not just the bad teams, it's the contenders too, given what Boston just saw of it about itself in the first round.
Ultimately, got to give Milwaukee a little bit of credit here because they have a lot more options now than they were going or than they had at the deadline. Like this. Ultimately, it's not going to work out for Milwaukee because they're going to trade Giannis, but they should trade Giannis, and they're going to have much better options now.
But that was always the conversation around the trade deadline, which made the whole thing of like, we're right on the doorstep of Giannis getting traded was all BS because Milwaukee sits back
I don't
and
know
goes,
that it was all BS, but
Zaz, you can get so much more in the summer than you can at the trade deadline with people being like,
Turned
oh,
out
you got to
that's
trade
true.
him.
The reporting was that ownership stepped in at the very last second and nixed what would have been a trade. It wasn't BS. Like, that's not how that went down. The Heat did indeed feel like they were the top choice, but the top choice didn't have enough to make Milwaukee ownership say, never mind, we're going to trade him now and not wait a few months.
I feel like we need to know more about what Giannis wants in terms of destination.
he's been really forthcoming, so you'll probably learn.
If it is indeed open to several places, like Atlanta has a better hand than you, Orlando has a better hand than you. They can just decide, all right, we see what our ceiling is with Banchero, and Banchero immediately becomes a more attractive piece than anyone that the Miami Heat are willing
Mike
to
Ryan
trade.
is Mike Ryan. You have Tony right next
They have
to you
no picks,
making
though.
a
That's the
face.
issue.
Yeah, but
Orlando has no picks.
Yeah, but Banchero is a much better asset than Miami
Okay,
has.
but they want picks, right? They have 0 picks. They sent 4 over to Memphis for Desmond Bane.
get other picks.
Giannis is better than Banchero, and their team sucks with Giannis. Like, they're not just going to take Banchero. They need picks.
Who also sucks.
I'm just illuminating you on the fact that all these other teams have better options and have more roster flexibility because they have better assets that they can flip for other picks provided that's what Milwaukee asked for.
Do they have better assets, or do they have people that they were willing to trade? Because if Bam is not getting traded unless it's for Wembanyama and 8 picks, then we know where they stand. If they want to get Banchero the hell out of town, they'll send his ass out.
That's been at the heart of every disagreement that we've had with the Miami Heat's direction. You're not that good. You think you're better than you are. You're not. And you refuse to move off of this player who I don't know how many more years need to smack you in the face to tell you when he is your best player, you are simply not good enough.
I think they're attracted to him being the second best player, which is why if they're like, if we can get somebody better than him, we already have a guy who's defensive stalwart and the second best player of our team.
Tony, I believe that you misquoted Pat Riley there when you called him Wembanyama.
Wembanyama.
Direct quote.
Oh, you got it right.
Thank you. Got it right on the Wizards, too. Real Hoopers knew that from way back in the day.
Well, wait.
What do you mean? All of a sudden, Mike Ryan has a take of the Wizards are good?
No.
I told you 6 months ago?
No.
Come on, what are we doing?
You can't say, after you said
Wait,
the
are
Wizards.
you accusing me of stealing a take?
I am?
Like, no, that's not how that happened.
That's exactly
and
how that
That's
happened.
usually not how it happens.
After you said the Wizards were good, they allowed Bam to score 83 and then lost
I told you they
26
were heading
of their
in the
last
right
27.
direction.
After you said that, they lost 26 of their last 27 games. Right after
27
you
to
said
28.
that.
I don't know if you were here or not, but as soon as they made the trade for Anthony Davis, I like their chances to make a playoff next
Okay,
year.
you guys don't get to take a victory lap
Wizards
on the
off.
Wizards
I know.
are good.
Trying
Trying to take my victory lap of the one place that I was there.
You can't do that because
I
they
was
won
in
the
Washington.
lottery. Let's rewind for a second, though. Give me someone luckier to get Zoe out of there. Give me somebody that you want to see the next time that they're up. Zoe needs to be fired as their good luck charm. It's okay, big guy. Thank you for the help. We appreciate you flying out every time and making the sad face because the drama gets eliminated every year. But they are empirically the unluckiest team. They cannot keep doing in the draft what they're doing in the roster, which is we're not going to change anything. We have to change something there. So give me some options that nationally resonate that are better than Zoe. Didn't Dwayne Wade go one time?
Yeah.
Wade went one time.
I think in 2008 when they got Beasley, so they ended up losing a spot. I think Wade was the ref.
I think Nick Harrison has gone before. He works hard.
Crazy Andy, probably.
So we have limited options when it comes to finding someone lucky from Miami who we could throw up there to see if we can get something better than the empirically unluckiest team in the history of the lottery. Do you put this on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Did you know the Miami Heat were empirically the unluckiest team in the history of the NBA lottery? And also put on the poll, Vince Carter, Raptor or Net? Because those are your only two choices that you guys are going with, even though the other day Roy stunned me by making Clemens a Blue Jay and thinking
That was nuts.
Roger Clemens as only first as a Blue Jay. Vince Carter went to further in the playoffs than he's ever gone with the Nets, had more team success with the Nets than he ever had with the Raptors. Did he ever get out of the first round with the Raptors? They played in the second round. They played in the second round. They never got out of the second round with Vince Carter with the Raptors, though. That's not – the Raptors never got out of the second
remember
round.
Vince Carter missed the shot at the buzzer in Game 7 when he came back from his graduation in North Carolina. Was that second? That was a second round, I believe.
I don't think.
Yeah.
I think Embiid and Vince Carter. I believe both of them have never gotten out of the second round with the Raptors, and Embiid has never gotten out of the second round with the
Doing
Sixers.
a thought union between Vince Carter and Zoe when Vince caught the body on Zoe, cocked it all the
no
way
one's
back
talking
with
about
the
that.
Nets, and then
No one's talking
slammed
about
it
that.
on him.
No one's talking about that.
What no one is also talking about is the Cyclones losing in what can be described as the most pathetic way possible, where the other team didn't have to have cestas because the Cyclones, serving for the championship, double faulted and crushed both.
So you're saying
of
they could have gone out there
owners.
barehanded?
If they didn't have Cestas, he wouldn't have served it as hard. He could have got it
Okay,
in.
this is what I'm telling you. Not only could they have gone out there without cestas, Tony, they could have been at the highlight bar, not on the floor, and they still would have won the championship because the Cyclones double faulted to end the season.
So you have them glancing over the bar like, oh, we won.
Dan, do you know what I learned about highlight last week? You have to have the cesta on your right arm.
Yeah.
If you're a lefty, it doesn't matter. You tell them, "Hey, I'm a lefty." They're like, "No, we don't care." The cesta goes on the right
Well,
arm.
it's because if it's on the left arm, you will scrape it against the wall when you are shooting
This guy knows
when you are
pelota.
throwing the ball with your.
Oh, I'm a lefty, so I need
Angles
it.
game.
No, but it's biased against lefties. You cannot be a lefty in highlight.
That's very tough.
You must be right-handed in high. Put it on the poll, please. At
Discrimination.
Le Batard Show, was the world made for left-handers? At Le Batard Show, because it's not just highlight; it's the entirety of the world. But let's just play a montage here. The Cyclones were a point from repeating as champions. And I love the range of Metal Arc Media that it can go from winning a Pulitzer, as Zaz calls it, to also owning a highlight team and getting all hopes crushed on the final point of the season. Let's play a little montage here to celebrate what was a successful season, more successful than Joel Embiid's, even then Joel Embiid is still saying that the Sixers had a successful season.
And the Chargers, they're going to see a Cyclone miss that house, and come after them.
Come on, Cyclones. Let's go, baby.
Let's go, Roy. Let's go, Roy. Let's go.
Let's go, Clones!
Big one here, high road.
Let's go, boys! Let's go! Let's go! Third match. We're doing good so far. Get it, girl! Let's go, baby. Let's go. Let's go! Let's go! Yeah, lock hands. Yeah! One more! Vamos! Oh, no!
We lost. Arguably the greatest match in battlecourt history. Double fault on a tiebreaker. That's a really crappy way to lose.
The entire season comes down to a single point. Damn, this one hurts.
Yeah, this is tough. Locker room was tough. And that's what sports is. This close to the best day of your life.
Sports.
And then you end up having the worst day of your life.
Sports.
Mascots in general make me happy, but that particular mascot makes me happier than most.
George Clooney.
Clooney.
You love a costume.
Well, but it's not just a costume, though. A flea market costume. Yes, a flea market costume. Yes, don't get mad at me because I'm saying that you got a flea market mascot there.
You seen your puppet?
If I took that mascot there.
How'd you feel when you were locking fingers there, Chris, with George Clooney?
Intimate.
Went back to the locker room after we lost, and I wanted to console my players. I've never consoled a naked man before. That's what ended up happening. Was not my intention, but he was naked. We still
I saw pee-pee.
still gave him like one of these. Don't be so hard on
Put
yourself.
it on the
Or
poll
me.
at Le Batard Show. Have you ever consoled a naked man before at Le Batard Show?
You just look straight ahead, keep your eyes up, stay focused on the game.
Clutch towel placement by him too. Dangling.
The ballsy move though, because at one point he just let the towel fall. I would never do that. I would hold that thing really tight.
How would you do it? Because you're holding it over your nipples, like you're holding the towel very high.
I've struggled.
There might be-
Relax.
It was a very
I'm not
long
going
towel.
chest high with the towel. Okay?
You come out of the shower like a girl?
No,
You're wearing
I'm a
up
man.
there?
Very long towel. It was over
I
his
wear
left
it.
shoulder.
I wear it at my belter region.
It was over his left shoulder, and it was dangling in between.
Oh, gotcha.
I have always
So-
struggled with the towel, latching the towel to make it like a little skirt. It never
haven't
stays
mastered
for
that
me.
yet?
It never stays for me.
Well, we're
I get 4 steps in and then it falls.
we're a little wide there, and I'm just curious. Do you put the towel over your belly button or under your
Under.
belly button? You put it under. So
I'm not in public.
It's a good look.
I know you're not in public, but you just made it sound like you put it over your nipples because you said you were holding it with both
Well,
arms.
that was just if I was in a locker room setting where if I'm on a team and the owner of the team's coming to talk to me, I'm getting a little insecure.
Should we have been bigger babies about the final serve?
You guys should have filed a protest. You should have made a scene. You should have done something to bring.
I was right away.
You should have brought attention to that. You should have done, as owners,
I was doing
you
a
should have
universal
done
sign.
whatever you can possibly do to win the championship. You can't just fall to your knees and be Cash Patel when there's an alleged active shooter.
So I fell to my knees because, and I'm so glad I stopped you in the middle of wherever the hell you were going. I had a pretty good read on it, and as soon as I saw it serve, I'm like, that's so close. Like, I think we just double faulted. So I live, to me, it looked like we overserved.
Is there reviews?
Yes, there's a review, but there's never been this situation. You can review it, but we've never had this situation where it's a championship point. So everyone, after they call the double fault, everyone gets out of the way. The trophies come out. It's a lot like
The band was on the field.
Yeah, it's a lot like
can we review this? They're celebrating.
Yeah, we took offense to actually the commissioner of the sport talking to K. Marie, the owner of the Chargers, at one point when they were up like 5-3 in the tiebreaker set, because he was already talking out logistics.
Oh, so that was your yellow rope situation.
It was, and we almost had a moment there, but we bounced up and we were like, "Can I see the replay?" Because it was pretty close. And then on the iPhone, it actually looked like it was in. And so we were trying. Chris, to his credit, was like, "Let's get a review," but you couldn't stop anybody. The stripes got out of there.
The band was on the field
immediately.
Why wouldn't their first thought be, "Let's review"?
Because their first thought was, here's a trophy that we have to hand out because teams are celebrating. Now, we grabbed Scott through the net.
And you
while
kicked
he had
the shit
trophy.
out of him. Oh.
No, he had the trophy
Like,
in his
picture us
hand.
holding an iPhone. Like,
I'm
look.
holding it. I'm like,
And
Scott.
he's looking, and he's like, let me see.
He's like, Manu should have challenged it. And we're like, but we never saw a replay, and Chris was trying to get people's attention, and everybody went away. I'm like, if we tried even faster, we wouldn't have been able to do it as efficiently. Now, Scott, the commissioner of the sport, to his credit, said he did go back to the replay center, and he gave it a look, and he said that it did indeed touch the line.
You believe him?
I do, because, again, like I said, my initial read on it was that it touched the line.
I thought you guys called him Slippery Savage.
It's been said.
It's been said by other people.
Not you guys.
He knows what he did.
I would only say that in private.
Well, I think you guys failed on a number of fronts. First of all, you've got to make a lot more noise. You got to do anything in your power as owners to bring maximum attention to that. And I also think that Chris underestimated the language barrier and the sports barrier, in that no one knows what the review for basketball is in
I could be doing the Cyclone signal.
Like, they just think
I was
that
doing
you're-
VAR. I was doing the VAR box.
I was like, you gotta look
No,
at it.
but that doesn't translate. This in
It could
basketball.
be a cyclone signal, actually, now that I think about it.
It was actually me screaming, "Barba!" Because Barba, the guy with the really long beard, moonlights as an official.
Yeah, that's right.
So I was screaming, "Barba!" But
Sad
Barba
night.
ran away.
Yeah, he did.
I want to play for you guys some sound before we get to whatever was Zaz's wild weekend in Orlando. But let's listen to Hafley on the Richard Sherman podcast saying that we and others are going to regret making fun of their first-round pick.
I mean, that when he was still available for us to pick then, when we picked, because we moved back and got 2 extra picks, and he was going to be the guy we took at 11, but we got him at 12 with 2 extra picks on top of it, which I thought was an awesome job by John Eric. With his size and his potential and how young he is, he's a guy that we could be looking at down the road, and people are going to say, wow, how'd that guy get drafted at 12 at a premium position with how young he is, how big he is, and how talented he is. That one, I think people might look back on in a few years and try to figure out what made him fall to.
No one ever says that about a guard, dude. No one. No one ever says, man, how did they get that guard at 12? No one.
Remember that time a few years after a team made their pick, the team said, you know what, in a few years from now, we're probably going to be laughed at.
Even if he comes out to be the greatest guard of all time, I think you could look at it and say, 12 solid. Yeah, that's a good spot for the greatest guard of all time.
No, too high. Too high. I would say that too high for the greatest guard of all time. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. If you can get the greatest offensive guard of all time, do you have to do it lower than at number 12?
I just don't believe that if you love a guy so much at 11, you're like, I love this guy so much, but I'm willing to risk it for 2 5s. Love this guy a lot, but I'll take those 2 5s because those 2 5th rounds look good.
Well, but no, what
move
happened,
back one spot.
They knew, though, that it wasn't going to – they weren't risking anything.
Hey, you don't know for sure.
Dallas was going to go get the best player available, which was Caleb Downs, which they did.
Well, but the Dolphins will tell you it was Caden Proctor.
But they knew what Dallas was trading up for. Everybody knew what Dallas was trading up for. It was viewed as the most versatile talent that there was in the entire draft, that everybody was a little bit surprised fell out of the top 10. Like
Blue chip, as Stephen Jones said.
There was no risk involved in them trading down one pick so that they could get the guard.
It's hilarious. The entire NFL world, all the front offices, all the fans watching are open-mouthed. Can you believe Downs and Bane have both dropped so much? And only one place on the planet, seemingly, was that conversation being had about a different player, about Caden Proctor.
Well, there's definitely only one place it was happening about a guard. And I think we're being unfair because I don't think he's going to be a guard after 2 or 3 years. And I understand what they're saying. All those times you saw on film that somebody just ran right past him, it's just because he's young and he hasn't learned anything and he's played whatever it is, 30 games. He has 39 games or something. So he's just all potential. I wanted to play some sound, though. I have not gotten to talk enough about Pete Fairbanks, the kooky guy who plays for the Marlins, who used to play for the Rays. He's a reliever, and he's fun, and he's weird, and he's awkward, and all of this is a lot more fun and weird and awkward when he's pitching well or when he's throwing 103 miles an hour. But here he is explaining a term. I don't know if you have heard this before, Zaslow, in baseball. Have you heard this term before?
You have been dry humped many, many times in your life. Can you please tell us what dry humping in baseball is?
I sure can. I'd love to be of service to you and maybe add a definition to this here dictionary. The dry hump is when, as a reliever, they call down and say, hey, in most cases, it's tighter ahead, so-and-so's in the game. You start warming up. Obviously, there's degrees of it. The worst dry humps are the ones to which you then have to fire it off and be as warm as you would be to go in a game with no guarantee that you go in a game. And if you then say your team does not score the run, you sit back down and you have been dry humped.
What does it feel like to get dry humped?
Well, 1 dry hump usually is okay. 2 dry humps does not feel very good. I think in my career I've been dry humped 3 times once, and I felt like I couldn't move my arm for about 8 hours.
Jeff Passan has a maniacal grin the entire time.
He knows what he's doing.
He does know what he's doing, and this is the freedom of the Jeff Passan podcast outside of some of the rules of Disney.
You have been dry humped many, many times in your life.
For tight corners and narrow roads, F1 is putting a sprint race in Baku. On Saturday, Charles Leclerc is fearless in pole position as the sprint begins. But at the start, London boy George Russell delivers some karma to Max Verstappen, making him a move to push him wide. Max is red, but George says, don't blame me. Number 22, Yuki Tsunoda, clips the wall and loses a tire after just 2 laps. At the restart, Sergio Perez has a lead with 5 laps left. It's time to go. Checo wins the sprint race, but Max and George have bad blood when the race ends. You guys see what I'm doing yet? Will there be vigilante shit on Sunday?
This
Max,
is amazing.
You need to calm down because it's lights out and away we go in Baku. Sparks fly, and Verstappen is driving like he's in a getaway car and pulls out into the lead. Long story short, Nick DeVries has a glitch and a safety car ensues. Perez is in the lead after a slew of pit stops, but he's not out of the woods yet. The one driver, Max Verstappen, has speed, but that's when Sergio Perez says, bye-bye, baby. As the race ends, Esteban Ocon goes into the pit, but the mastermind race organizers have let press onto the treacherous pit lane. That's why we can't have nice things. 7-time champion Lewis Hamilton finishes 6th. The last great American dynasty, Haas, finishes out of the points, but today was a fairy tale for Sergio Perez. Verstappen finishes in 2nd, which is better than revenge. 1-2 for Red Bull is nothing new. They don't have champagne problems on the podium, but the anti-hero Max Verstappen is only ahead in the Drivers' Championship by 6 points. Fernando Alonso and Taylor Swift rumors are swirling. Long live Formula One. Max Verstappen has won the Drivers' Championship, but we still have 4 races to go. In Austin, Daniel Ricciardo rides a horse named Horsey McHorseface into the paddock. Zach Brown accuses Christian Horner of cheating, and Fort Lauderdale's own Logan Sargent will join Williams in 2023. During quali, Carlos Sainz takes the fastest lap while his teammate Charles Leclerc takes a grid penalty. Martin Brundle gets snubbed by Brad Pitt. Tim Apple doesn't know how to wave a flag. 440,000 people are at the Circuit of the Americas. It's lights out and away we go. On turn 1, Max Verstappen gets ahead of Carlos Sainz, and Sainz tries to recover, but gets hit by George Russell. The Spaniard is out of the race before the 1 lap is even over, and Russell takes a 5-second penalty. Valtteri Bottas' race ends early, and a safety car helps out Charles Leclerc for once. Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll get in a massive collision, and debris is everywhere. Lewis Hamilton, on hard tires, leads the race with 10 laps to go, but the Flying Dutchman cannot be beat this year. It's Verstappen, Hamilton, and Leclerc. Sebastian Vettel battles to the finish in his final USGP. Baby Lando finishes 6th, and Yuki gets a point. Red Bull wins the Constructors' Championship for the first time in 10 years, a day after their founder's passing. People are crying, there's champagne flowing, fireworks are popping off. Everything is bigger in Texas, Dan, except for F1 drivers.
I guess it's time for the F1 minute here, even though I want to hear that sound
gave it
again.
away?
Je suis stressé pour les minutes de Formule 1. J'ai besoin d'énergie. Énergie.
Let's go, energy.
Oh, energy.
Bonjour et bienvenue à Circuit Powercar pour le Grand Prix de France. Les températures élevées sur le circuit signifient que la gestion des pneus va être essentielle. Charles Leclerc, le pilote automobile monégasque, fait passer à Max Verstappen pour la première place. Le pilote Ferrari doit gagner pour rester dans les championnats. Mais non! Quelle horreur! Une catastrophe! Sacré bleu! Charles Leclerc sort de la course! Encore de la malchance! Il est fini! Une honte! Max Verstappen prend une grosse avance. Lewis Hamilton, le pilote Mercedes, est 12e. Carlos Sainz, l'autre pilote Ferrari, a commencé à la 19e place, d'où sa pénalité pour le changement du moteur. Il est roue contre roue avec Sergio Perez, mais l'imbécile de chez Ferrari recommence. Max Verstappen a fini premier de la course. Carlos Sainz est le pilote toujours. Lando, l'enfant Norris, a terminé 7e. Lance Stroll a terminé avec un point. Félicitations, Mike Crack.
Huh?
Wow! Oh my God!
Holy shit! Holy shit!
Merci.
Oh my God! Was there an imbecile in there? Did you say imbecile?
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Tony, what did you find for me before we get to Wemby and what happened with him yesterday, and before we get to the Sixers and the Knicks? Because I do want to talk about both sides of that. Joel Embiid has still not ever gotten out of the second round, and had some post-game comments that were super unusual, I would say, that we'll get to in a second. But am I correct in what it is that I said about USA Today never winning a Pulitzer, the BBC and NPR never winning a Pulitzer, Time Magazine, ABC News, NBC News never winning a Pulitzer?
No, just because there's 23 different categories of Pulitzer Prizes, and actually NPR won one for the same category that Pablo won one, which is audio journalism, audio reporting. They won in 2021. So I'm going to go through all 23 categories and see if there is overlap there.
Okay, but how about Disney? Has Disney won one? Because I was surprised to hear that ABC News, in the entirety of its history, had never won a Pulitzer. Now, I will admit that I did not know that you could win the Pulitzer for something that was not written. I thought the Pulitzer was just something that was a written award. Didn't you guys think that as well? Were you not of the impression that that was only something that could be had by writing something? Because that is what I thought. And I was floored, and I don't know if any of you were floored by this, but the placement, okay, I'm just going to, before I get to Sixers, Knicks, and Wemby, Here's the first paragraph and the third paragraph of what was reported about this. The New York Times won 3 Pulitzer Prize awards on Monday, including for an investigation into how President Trump is profiting from his deal-making in news photography documenting starvation and destruction in Gaza, and also for analyzing the rise of authoritarianism. So you've got Gaza, Trump corruption, and authoritarianism in the first paragraph. The third paragraph is Reuters and the Washington Post winning for exhaustive coverage of the Trump administration's overhaul of federal agencies and how they were reshaping the country. That's the first and the third paragraph. So authoritarianism, starvation and destruction, reshaping of the country, corruption. And then the second paragraph, an NBA player not planting trees. That's nuts. It's just totally nuts.
Yeah. So far, the only punishment from any of those categories that you mentioned was the Clippers getting the 5th pick.
So now put this up on Pablo, and you tell me whether we're in this realm. Pablo Torre just won a Pulitzer for his Ballmer story. Are we about to hit Apex Mountain for inflated self-regard?
That's funny coming from the Simmons Reddit.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Pablo winning a Pulitzer. Are we about to hit Apex Mountain for inflated self-regard?
So Disney has won a couple of Pulitzer Prizes because it owned the Los Angeles Times from 2000 to 2016, where they've won a couple there. ABC News has won a couple between staff and journalists, and ESPN has won a couple as well.
You were way off.
Yeah, I was. Okay, so I wasn't right.
I'll check the other
anything.
22 categories.
Okay,
It's actually not that impressive.
Yeah, it sounds like it. It sounds like it's getting diluted by the misinformation that I give as I talk.
You said it.
So the Sixers and the Knicks yesterday, this one's interesting for a few reasons before we get to the Wemby stuff, which is also interesting. The Sixers go from ending Boston's season on the road, ending maybe Boston's architecture on the road, to never getting to celebrate that with their home fans and then coming home and getting slaughtered. And not only getting slaughtered because they can't trust Joel Embiid. This one was interesting to me, Zaz, because, Paul George can look like that for a couple of games if he takes 25 of them off. And Joel Embiid can look like that for a couple of games to knock off Boston. But over the course of a series, they'll get worn down so that in a Philadelphia arena that New York fans take over, you can have Josh Hart of the Knicks say this after they sweep the Sixers.
Nah, man, because everybody was begging for Philly to not sell the tickets and all that stuff. So, man, yeah, I used to think Philly was a sports town. I don't know if it is anymore.
It's awesome. So, I mean, it's such an awesome thing to say by Josh Hart. And you got Joel Embiid at the end of Game 7 last round, begging and pleading with their fan base not to sell the tickets. Because Joel Embiid said, if you need the money, I got you. Now, I don't know what that exactly means, Dan. Like, did he give some fans money? And then they still turned around and sold the tickets? I don't know. We may need to look into that. But then for Josh Hart to say that I thought Philly was a sports town, that's something.
Well, look at how New York took over Philadelphia during this local news clip as well.
Action News reporter Cheyenne Corinne live inside Xfinity Mobile Arena tonight. Cheyenne, this game was brutal.
Walter, you would think that I'm in New York right now instead of Philadelphia. This is absolutely not the way that fans were hoping to end the Sixers season. You can see that I am surrounded by Knicks fans right now. What's up? I'm the Sixers fan right now. I have to say.
So after that, you have Joel Embiid, or maybe it was during that, here's Joel Embiid in the locker room saying something that is just a little bit mystifying from someone who played 38 games this season.
You know, I said it, and I'm going to say it again. I know we lost, and I know that's not the right mentality to have. But, for me, this was a success. I came into this year not knowing where I was going to be. How long I was going to play, if I was even going to play based on how the knee was the last few years. And, I came in, hoping for the best, and I feel like we're in a position where we figured out the knee.
The kid cough though.
Yeah, the colicky baby is the healthiest part of that sound.
To be fair, in context, he's talking about his knee.
Who cares?
But he says he feels healthy about the knee.
Talk about his knee. His knee kept him out for 50 games this season. What are you talking about the knee? How could you say that if you're Joel Embiid? Not only did they get swept, he's never been out of the second round in his career. They lost 144 to 114, and this was a success. He's due to make $58 million next season.
I think it was a success. You just contextualize how difficult their season was. They were down 3-1 to the Boston Celtics. They went on the road, and Embiid had one of the classic closeout game performances in Philadelphia sports history. He did that on the road. Now, I understand a sweep to the degree that they had one against the New York Knicks is how you kind of burn up all that goodwill. But we cannot overlook what they did in that first round. We can't.
Mike, they gave $200 million before last season to Embiid. They gave $200 million to Paul George. And this season ended with them getting curb stomped in 3 or 4 games in a sweep in the second round. Another second round that Embiid goes home in. It's not a success. There's no way you could shape it as a success.
There is one way I could shape it as a success, and it's just to pair it against everything year by year that he has done in the league. Are you ready? 2015 did not play. 2016 did not play. 2017 missed playoffs. 2018 second round exit. 2019 second round exit. 2020 first round exit. 2021 through 23 second round exit. 2024 first round exit. 2025 missed playoffs. 2026 second round exit. It's the best he's done. When he plays through all of his injuries, and there was a comical headline before Game 2, which was the closest game the Sixers played. The one without him in that series is the closest one they played. The headline before that game was something that would be written by comedy writers, which is just Joel Embiid out with multiple injuries. Like they just say multiple injuries. And he was saying, and this part's fair, once I have surgery, once I have appendectomy, emergency surgery, he said nothing else in my body was right. I came back too soon and nothing was balanced. And every year he is playing with an assortment of broken body parts. And that's what Philadelphia's core is built upon, him trying to get through 38 games this season. Last year or the year before, Bell's palsy. The year before that, he's playing with a mask because they've shattered his eye. He's saying, this is what must be so frustrating for Joel Embiid, is that he's saying after that game, nobody cares more about being out there or winning than I do. And his reputation is exactly the opposite of that because he can't get out there because his body keeps betraying him.
Everything you're saying is completely reasonable. But that doesn't make any of this a success. It's not a success. And a main reason that it's not a success is because, unfortunately, he's never healthy. But because he was able to play in the final game of the year, a year that he missed more than half the games and missed 4 of 11 playoff games, these are good reasons for missing games, but it's not a success.
Well, does this go back to the Giannis quote a couple years ago?
It is not a failure.
Where it's just like, every year of your job, you get a promotion? I'm doing my Giannis right now.
Don't do that.
I mean, I'm just saying, it's still a success, right? You still had a good year of work?
No,
It's
go
not
back
the
to the
same.
old one.
It's not the same thing.
Let's play this maxi sound so you guys tell me if this sounds like success.
Tyrese, can you describe what it was like playing again against the Knicks here, where their fans come down here and kind of take over your home arena? Do you use it as fuel going
it
forward in any
absolutely
way?
sucks, if I'm being honest. It just sucks, bro. It just sucks, man. It just sucks. That's really all I can say about it, man. Like, it's hard. It's definitely difficult. You know what I'm saying? And it's only one way to put a stop to it, and it's we have to go out there and win these games. Like, we, just being completely honest, we were better when we played them in the Garden this entire season. Like, I know we lost Game 2 and 1, but like Game 2 was better. Regular season was better. Here we was, I was telling them it felt louder here for them than it did in the Garden. And it's like, but we got to put a stop to it as a team. Like, winning these games, that's what's going to make, our fans like louder than theirs or whatever. I don't know how to keep them out. I don't know the logistics of it, but it does suck. I can't even lie. It definitely does suck.
This is the best that the New York Knicks have felt since Larry Johnson hit a 4-pointer against the Indiana Pacers to get them to the finals. What year? What year was that? Was that 2001? Was that
99?
99. So that's this century. This is the best that the Knicks have felt right now, this minute, where they have won 7 straight playoff games. They're the first NBA team ever to win 3 straight basketball games in the playoffs by more than 25 points.
I'm pretty sure, like, this generation of Knicks fans is going to look at this version of the Knicks the way that, that fan base in the 90s looked at that version of the Knicks. Like this is
a more lovable team, though. That one had Latrell Sprewell on it and Larry Johnson, and they liked that team. They embraced that team, but they didn't have anyone on that team as beloved as Jalen Brunson leading that team. And the first quarter that the Knicks played to close out the Hawks is the best quarter of basketball that I saw from a team this season not named the Oklahoma City Thunder, where they were up with 4 minutes left in the second quarter, 72-22 is after, and it was on both sides. It wasn't just offensively. Yesterday, they hit 18 threes in the first half when their record for threes in a game is 19, or the record for threes in a game was 19. They hit 18 in the first half. They had 81 at the half. That used to be more than the Knicks. The era you're talking about, Knicks basketball, there are any number of playoff games that didn't have an 81 next to a victorious Knicks team when they were finished with the basketball game.
They're rooting hard for the Cavs, yeah?
Yes.
Because styles make fights. Now, Cleveland did make an acquisition that they hope mitigates New York's advantages over them. But Cade Cunningham, like that could be a really interesting Eastern Conference Finals for a team that was on life support against Orlando.
The Knicks looked good against 6s and 7s, and Detroit will be a different problem. They will not have any problems with Cleveland. They wouldn't have had any problems with Toronto. They match up extraordinarily well. Even with Harden, I don't need to watch that. But since you brought up Harden, does he buy himself anything with that last game, or does Harden have to do it in Game 7?
No, but do it again.
So he's got to do it. So all Harden does. So I just want to be clear on this. When Harden disappears for 9 minutes at the end of Game 2, that's Harden being Harden. But when Harden wins Game 3 with everything he does at the end, he buys himself nothing, correct? Nothing at all.
Yeah, if you're a Hall of Fame player, which he is going to the Hall of Fame, okay, if you're a Hall of Fame player, it should be expected you're great every game. Every game.
He also has these disappearing acts and reappearing acts throughout playoff series his entire career, right? Like a couple years ago, had a 40-point game in a Game 6, and then has a dud for a Game 7.
That famous Game 6 didn't buy him anything. He's certainly not going to get anything bought with a Game 3.
I believe that James Harden has the reputation throughout all of sports, not just American sports, all of sports, as the biggest choker there is. That right now, present. Now, this changes every few years, but Harden's held the title for a while. A reputation for a guy that is great. Hall of Famer, top 20 scorer of all time, multiple-time MVP. He's got a reputation as a choker that you guys are telling me cannot be shaken unless he does it in Game 7, and I don't agree with you. I think he's got to do it multiple times in a Game 7.
Yes. No, you do agree with us. When Zaz said that, we were all nodding along. You agree exactly with us.
When you nod your head like this, that's agreed.
You cannot cherry pick a Game 3. Where were you Game 1 and 2? He was
No,
terrible.
but I'm saying if he does it to eliminate the Pistons in a Game 7, or it's
in the second round?
Not even a Game 6, I'm telling you. The reputation is so embedded. It's a really unusual thing, guys. Usually a player of this caliber doesn't come with the reputation of this guy's more likely to not be trusted in an important moment late in a series. James Harden having that distinction. I mean, McDavid sort of headed there, even though he was playing incredibly hurt during the playoffs.
Like, you don't think it's unfair, the Harden reputation, right?
It's not that I think it's unfair. It's just that I haven't seen it a whole lot. A player of this caliber not be able to get out from under the stigma.
That's why it's a thing.
But it's a thing. But it's a thing where you're not willing to change your mind unless it becomes a Game 7, because he just did it. Like, you cannot say he just saved their season.
But the thing is, he can't do it in Game 7. He did it in games. Like, however impressed you are with this Game 3, that Game 6 that Tony mentioned was so much better, so much more impressive, and no one cares.
He just made that trade for him a winner by saving their season late. And after the game, when they're asking Donovan Mitchell about, hey, you didn't do anything late, he's like, we've got James Harden now. We've got a guy who takes the ball from me late in the games, and that is what we're going to trust late in games.
But that's why we all agree he has to do it more, because there are so many more opportunities for him to burn up goodwill. Like, it's not some contrivance. It's data backed.
I know, but the last game that you have as data would serve as disproof if you were willing. Because he just
well, then how can you eliminate Game 2 and 1?
Because he just saved their season. How can Game 1 and 2 be big, but the one that saves their season's not a big moment?
It is a big moment in the complexion of that series for now, but he has to keep doing it. His reputation is overwhelming for a reason.
And again, it's a series. Like, it needs to be more than one game. He has to be great for the series.
He can go out tonight and go 3 for 18, and everybody's talking about, oh my God, Harden again. Saved the season, quote unquote, but now ruined the season again.
Like, he's not the caliber of player that it's like, all right, he could win you, 1 or 2 games in a series. No, he needs to be great the whole series.
He's a Mount Rushmore shooting guard, potentially. He is graded against all-time greats and what they do in the postseason, and he has a reputation that's unlike any of the other Mount Rushmore 2 guards. You can make it a solid argument that he's a top 3 offensive player in the history of the game.
I mean, look, spin it for a local perspective, and I'll use Dwayne Wade because Dwayne Wade seems to be this comp for James Harden, but I'm going to do it anyway. Like, if the Heat were playing in a playoff game, Dwayne Wade was expected to be amazing every single playoff game. And if he wasn't amazing in that game, that's a massive disappointment. Harden should be expected to be great every single playoff game.
I'm just surprised anytime a guy saves a season and it does nothing to improve his reputation. That's all I'm saying. And I'm saying it's because of empirical data that makes it so that he is a player who can shrink comparative to his greatness, but it's also because the reputation is now so imprinted and embedded that he's basically in Lamar Jackson territory.
It's a two-man island right now.
He's like the only other one.
Because he's bad in those big games. Josh Allen can be accused of having that reputation, but Josh Allen, outside of this Denver game where he made some puzzling decisions, still had a decent box score, but he's been incredible in some of these games. Lamar, like Harden, what is happening here? You're one of the all-time greats. Why are you so much worse in this moment?
Do you guys have for me a couple of other names that you can throw into the mix that I'm talking about? This mix
active?
Of yes, all active, of Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and James Harden, where it's not just that he has to do it at the end of games. It's not just that he has to do it at the end of playoff games. He has to do it at the end of the playoff games. Like, at the end of the playoffs is the standard is in a place where everything you do before the last games of the season doesn't matter at all. We're not erasing what your reputation is. We're not even going to give you this much room to move your reputation.
Man, I don't know if he's there. I think the standard for him is, why are you bad compared to where you are during the regular season? Like, it's not just like do it in these late moments.
And it's not just missing shots. It's turning the ball over.
Yeah, I think the standard is, why this is puzzling. Why are you worse?
Agreed. All I would say to you is that Detroit defense is really good, and the end of playoff games is the hardest time in all of basketball to score, and he won that game. Like, that Detroit team playing to finish the Cavs, James Harden would not let them. That's what happened at the end of the game.
Yes, but if they get eliminated in 6, no one will ever remember that game. No one.
I feel like Austin Matthews is that guy in hockey. He's probably I think McDavid, it's not fair. I wouldn't put him there.
It was Mitch Marner.
I mean, yeah, it was. McDavid ended up winning a postseason MVP in a season that he didn't win the Stanley Cup.
Right.
This is I'm trying to think. In playoffs, the only superstars that have this thing about they're chokers, and the reason why they're chokers, it's because they're bad, and they're really bad in these big games. It's Lamar and James Harden right now.
Yeah, like there's no one currently in baseball, right? Since there's no more Kershaw.
Well, but what you guys are doing, though, that is, to me, interesting is I'm telling you right now that he can do it for the remainder of the games in this series, knock off the Pistons, and still in the next round, you still won't take it off for James Harden. Like, he can do it.
That would go a long way if he did what you're saying.
Flowers. It is a second round, but I would give him flowers.
Yeah,
no doubt.
I'm not saying the flowers would rot quickly in the next round if he doesn't keep doing it, is what I'm saying. It's a super unusual situation for a player of his caliber to find himself in, that I'm telling you, the next 3 games he can do exactly what he just did. Finish the Detroit Pistons, and you guys will still be waiting for him to choke in the next round against the Knicks.
Well, it's the same conversation with Joel Embiid, right? That's another guy who we look at and we're like, you're so good. You had a 33-10 season. You won an MVP. You can't play, and when sometimes the big games do come up, you come up short. He has come up with big games in the past, like he did with the Celtics in that series, but then he comes to the Knicks series, and was he playing? Was he there? I don't know.
And I don't know exactly what it does to the conversation, but at this stage in his career, he was brought there to take pressure off of Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell is the face of that franchise. Now, it seems to be a loaded team. A lot of guys for that playoff team is stepping up right now. James Harden is not asked to be the guy that puts the entire team on his shoulders. Now, he was that in Game 3. That was amazing by him. But it's also why he gets to live in a space where we're not really talking about Games 1 and 2 all that much.
If the Cavs win the series, which they won't, but James Harden is great and they advance to the next round, and like you said, what if he's terrible the next round and they lose? You say that our negative reaction to him, you say that as if that would be unfair. I think it's completely fair. Even if he carries them in this second round to a victory, and then he's terrible in the conference finals, yeah, we're going to crush him. I think it's completely fair.
I'm not saying it's unfair. I'm saying it doesn't have a lot of precedent for a player of this caliber, where the thing that you attach to him is not merely the not winning of a championship, but also is going to disappear for 9 minutes at the end of the game, where you're not even sure whether he's on the court or at concessions because of what happened in Game 2, for example, where you're expecting what happens in Game 2 and you're surprised what happens at the end of Game 3.
We're probably getting close to that with Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
That's a good one in baseball.
That's a great one.
He's got to win the big one.
You can cherry pick some individual moments. Like, oh, look, he came through in that moment, just like he did in last postseason.
Right, if he carries them in the ALCS, then he stinks in the World Series. He's going to get hammered.
Well, but that one was unfair because he was great last postseason, wasn't he?
He was not good at the start, and then he was good in the World Series, right?
I mean, so the earlier games are the pressurized ones, but the World Series games are the ones where the pressure's not on him?
No, I think in that part it's unfair.
Didn't he have a major goof in the World Series where he short played a ball that went over his head?
No, he dropped the ball.
He dropped the fly ball.
I think it's a good name because statistically not as good in the postseason. Same with Lamar and same to James. All Dan is doing is marveling at how rare it is, and we're all agreeing, yes, it's super rare, but it's not a contrivance. It's not some media-made fabrication that you can just point to stats and say, well, look, he's the same guy. He's very clearly not.
I'm not saying it's a fabrication. I'm just saying that usually when you save a season against the Detroit Pistons, their brand of basketball defensively, playoff basketball, by making all the tough shots at the end, where Donovan Mitchell's the one that gets pushed off to the side because you've got a situation where the Pistons are saying, okay, James, go ahead and beat us. Because it's not like these teams don't also have the scouting report, right? They're going to dare James Harden to be the one that beats them, but he did the last game. And I don't think he gets much for it. I think it gets immediately erased. It's not, you mentioned the 40-point game in Game 6. I still hold the Game 7 against the Warriors against him when he's the MVP of the league with the Rockets.
And that's why a large part of his reputation is what it is, because he was supposed to be the man there, and Chris Paul took a little of the heat away from him. I do think that even if he's great this series, even if he is the reason why they beat Detroit, it'll probably be unfair that he doesn't get anything for it, because then he's going to be in the conference finals against the New York Knicks. The pressure's going to be ratcheted up, and he is going to be the guy that they brought in specifically to overcome the Knicks.
CP3 is a guy that gets kind of like put. I know he retired this year, so maybe we can like angle him in there. But he's another guy that was elite point guard. The guy was supposed to be the face of the team and make all the right plays and would always come short in big moments.
I mean, yeah, he saved their season in Game 3, but we could also make the case that he wouldn't have had to save their season if he wasn't so terrible in Games 1 and 2. Like if he was good in Games 1 and 2. Game 3 is not going to be on the line.
They're the lesser team, though. The Pistons have been better all season, even after the Cavs traded for Harden. Let's see here. Tony's making faces.
Are they the better team? Are the Pistons the better team?
You don't think? I mean, the Pistons all regular season they were. Maybe that doesn't mean anything anymore, given what I saw from the Celtics this year and how the playoffs can change a basketball team. But it doesn't appear like for all the talk we had about, hey, the Pacers made it as a 5 and the Mavs made it as a 5, it appears that this year it's going to be 1s and 2s and 1s and 3s, and it's not going to end up being Cleveland, and it's not going to end up being the 3s distort everything. It's just going to be, at the end, I suppose Minnesota could beat San Antonio, but it's looking like it's going to be 1s and 2s and 1s and 3s.
I mean, we got to see what the NBA hands down.
That game was awesome
when it comes to Wemby, because you could look at, like, it looks pretty bad on a replay. It looked bad as it happened. Do you think he's going to get suspended?
Yeah. No. He's
Tony just
no
said,
chance.
Tony, did you just do play on? You just
I
did a
did.
play on.
That was pretty crazy.
It was egregious.
And when you slow it down, it looks as intentional as it felt like live.
It was intentional. It was dirty. Look, I'll ask you this: if this took place in February, and today I'm asking you, is Wembanyama getting suspended? The answer is what?
No.
Really?
He's not getting suspended.
I think he gets suspended for that. I think he gets suspended for that if it's a regular season.
Regular season, I think he's 100%
in the postseason, we'll see. He's bought a lot of goodwill. You know, the part of this is, did Wemby really mean to do that? He seems so nice.
Sure looked like it.
He's benefiting from it even being a discussion.
Terrible.
Dude, that was really bad.
Terrible.
He should be suspended.
That
for
should have been at the UFC 328 on Saturday night. That a spinning back elbow.
Super dangerous. Now, also, he's so tall that I'm not. But I can't make that excuse.
Nas Reed is 7 feet tall.
I'm not going to make that excuse for him. Did he not mean it? His face looks so intentional.
He absolutely meant it.
I will say this. He absolutely meant to swing the elbow, but I'm with Mike on this. He's also of a height that when he swings his elbows, he's hitting a dude, most people at the top of the head, over the head. Usually when he's swinging his elbows, he's not hitting someone directly in the...
He kind of gives a peripheral like, oh, he's there? Okay, good.
Yeah!
You want to try that word again?
It was an extra syllable.
Peripheral?
Peripheral.
Oh, shut up.
I think you threw an I in there.
His face scared me a little bit. Like, there was like some rage there.
Who, Dylan Harper's?
No, Wemby. Let's play it one more time. When he cocks that elbow back, like, that is... He means to do that.
He absolutely meant to do it.
And he takes a look at, like, the target again.
I'm agreeing with you that he meant to hit him with an elbow. What I'm saying is he didn't mean to hit him where he hit him with the elbow. He did not. I don't believe that he meant to hit him in the face, in the chin. He also seemed to be confused about what a flagrant 2 was.
What a show that was. What a show. You know everything about everything. You asked Gobert about water filters, but you don't know a flagrant 2 kicks you out of the game? You've been in the NBA for 3 years. What are we doing?
He's never gotten a flagrant 2. He doesn't know what it means.
He's never been in a game where somebody's gotten a flagrant 2 before?
Well, but if it didn't involve
exactly
him.
right.
You think he's lying?
Yes.
But it's
very clearly.
But he didn't say it. They caught him. Hold on.
It was
Tony.
a performance, Dan. Come on.
Tony, they didn't. They did also interview him, but you're objecting to his confusion, and he was caught in a private moment on the bench, turning to a teammate and saying, "What happened? What's the flagrant 2?
What happened? You elbowed a guy in the neck, and they're kicking you out of the game."
You're being fooled by the person's reputation. This is the Myles Garrett thing all over
100%.
again. Myles Garrett got such a benefit of the doubt, and to this day still does. And he was rage-filled for one really ugly second that he is somehow quelled a little bit because everyone just wants to believe this is such a nice guy. That was evil from Wemby.
Thank you, Mike.
This is why he's going to become like the great supervillain.
You think he might be evil?
I think he is.
Dude,
I've been trying to tell you.
I'm enjoying this run right now because I kind of want to vanquish OKC at the moment. This is his only moment to be a baby face. This is like Survivor Series Deadly Game where The Rock has a crowd right behind him.
Oh, he had me fooled.
Yeah, he has a crowd right behind him. We got a mega face right here. This is going to be incredible. And then he turns to the help of the McMahons to screw over
I was shook,
Mankind.
Dan. I did not see that coming. Tony, you're telling me that this is the same thing that Wembanyama, I know you've been on his case.
Evil.
You think Wembanyama could be evil?
Yes. That's what I've been trying to tell you. He does. He says all these things to make sure that, oh, wow, he's so conscious about whatever. You're not conscious about a crazy elbow you throw in Nasri's neck?
This changes everything, if true.
Let's listen to the Spurs coach, Mitch Johnson, defending Wemby.
In general, I do think it's getting to a point that if the people that are in charge of controlling the game and protecting the physicality of the game don't do that, then at some point he's going to have to protect himself. We've been asking him to do that now for a while. So that call, I'm glad Nasri was okay and felt like the call was warranted. But in terms of the game plan of every single team we face since that young man's been in the league, and the physicality that people try to impose on him and the lack of protection is really disappointing. At some level, it's starting to get actually disgusting just in terms of when he tries to fight through things and be professional and mature and deal with some of that stuff. I'm glad he took matters into his own hands. Again, not in terms of hitting Nasri, but I want to be very clear about that. I'm glad Nasri was okay, and I didn't want him to elbow him. But he's going to have to protect himself if they're not, and I think it's disgusting.
Why's he got that Doc Rivers disease?
He does.
I get it. You got to come out and help your best guy, your face of the franchise. This is embarrassing. This sound was embarrassing.
Also, what are you arguing? Was it a mistake or wasn't it? Because
he's arguing that there's so much roughhouse going on with Wemby the whole season.
Welcome to the NBA playoffs, Wemby.
No.
Just because he's 8 feet tall doesn't mean you can just jump all over him.
No, I know what he's saying there, but he gives the game away by saying exactly what you just said. He makes it seem even more intentional because this is a player. They play me physical. That's the only way that they can stop me.
We've been coaching him to defend himself.
So this is what he does now. He took it into his own hands. He literally says that. Well, that's the intention behind it, and it was a direct elbow to a chin. That should be a suspension for at least a game.
I don't think he gets suspended.
He did miss half of a game. He did miss or 3 quarters.
Mid-second quarter.
2.5 quarters, yeah.
So here is Nick Wright agreeing with you. I'm not sure what I find more outrageous, he says. Wemby, who once upon a time said he studied the rules of the All-Star Game Skills Challenge, pretending he didn't know a flagrant 2 gets you ejected, or his coach justifying the dirtiest, most dangerous play of the playoffs. This is the most dangerous, dirtiest play since when in the playoffs? Because you see guys swinging elbows all the time in the NBA. You never see this. This is just something that does, never mind the playoffs, you never have a star player ejected from a playoff game, a face of the league ejected from a playoff game for a clearly dirty play. You can argue whether it's intentional or not. I don't actually think you should be arguing whether his reaction on the bench was sincere or not. I think he was confused about the idea that he might get ejected. I don't think he expected to get ejected.
I think the last time I think of a big elbow was when Ron Artest dented James Harden's forehead.
But that was the end of the regular
season.
Season.
I thought that was first round maybe.
The suspension was 7 games. It was 1 regular season game and then 6 playoff games.
Gotcha. So just missed it.
Yeah.
On the superstar scale of intention, this is the second worst act in sports in French athletics history. It was Zidane.
He didn't think it was going to get a red card there, Dan?
Zinedine Zidane.
I was trying to think of Boris Diaw.
Headbutting just randomly.
A chill just went down my spine when you said Boris Diaw. Oh, I feel like I saw a ghost.
My favorite part about the Zinedine Zidane situation is that soccer players, even when fighting, don't use their hands. Like the idea that he went to the headbutt to be dirty.
Not talked about enough.
Well, the Wemby thing will be talked about plenty if the NBA does the shocking thing and knocks him out for another game.
The commissioner's done nothing, Dan.
They're too big into the Wemby thing. He's in Wemby's pocket. He had to do something, which is why he got taken out for the game for a flagrant 2. There is 0.0% chance that he misses a second.
Can you imagine like the letter or the note that Wemby's sending Adam Silver this morning, Tony? Oh,
a plate of cheese. Foreigners Bordeaux wine. Get out of here.
There's calligraphy.
Put it on the poll. Is there a 0.0% chance that Wemby is suspended for one more second?
One iota of a second.
For one more. You guys would be shocked by that, correct? You guys would be shocked.
Suspended,
yes. But it's dirty enough I think it's dirty enough to warrant that. Like, I wouldn't have a huge objection if you guys, if all of a sudden the news was Wemby's also going to end up missing the next game because this was so flagrant, and you simply cannot have something this dirty being in any way condoned.
All right, so here's the question. If it was Draymond Green or Dylan Brooks, is he being suspended?
Easily.
Prison.
Because, the reputation, and that's exactly what's happening here, just on the other side. His reputation is making this a discussion and a very sincere chance that he gets to escape it because everyone agrees, he seems like a good guy. That's how they get you.
He just won with Jeremy Taché.
Because Jeremy was an alleged journalist last night. Yeah, my thoughts exactly. Jeremy, who is an up-and-comer in the broadcasting game and is someone who has now journalistic credentials around, literal credentials around the Heat and the Marlins. Yesterday he was hosting. And this is one of the great things, Stugotz, this time of year. We get it so infrequently around here in South Florida. But South Florida has always done this well. The rest of the country always makes fun of, you guys don't care about that sports that much. You're bandwagon people. All right. Many of us are. Not everyone is. The loyalists are super loyal. But Miami does the bandwagon better than anybody. Miami does. Everyone now show up for the party. And so you have, stunningly, a hockey arena in the Everglades. Surrounded by airboats and alligators, filled with people to do the wave, watching the game on television. And at the Heat, across the street from us last night, Jeremy Taché is watching the end of that game with a lot of people who are excited. And Stugotz, I'm getting a lot of this. Jimmy was out of bounds, and it ended up being a 3. That was a goaltend ref culture win. Okay, whatever. Tell it to the people who were yelling and screaming around Jeremy.
How about this? 1-1, we're coming home.
Okay, who's we?
Yeah, I took the Heat in 5. Anyone else?
He's right.
All right, the Knicks are watching this like everybody
2
else.
rounds ago.
It was a long time ago, understandably. Here's Jeremy Taché not being a journalist while covering, again, an arena filled with people, but no players or athletes were there.
You're catching us right now as the Miami Heat have just won Game 2 of the NBA Finals. You can see that this crowd here is hoisting babies into the air. This crowd is ready from the moment this game started, and it has continued here as the Miami Heat have just upset the Denver Nuggets. We got fans going crazy. We're high-fiving. Everybody's ready for an unbelievable night right here in Miami. The Kaseya Center was ready for a great night from the jump as this energy around the entire lower bowl was electric from the moment this game started until the moment it ended. As we pan out to the rest of the crowd, you can see the entire lower bowl going absolutely crazy to end this game. The Miami Heat have just won it as Jamal Murray's shot has not gone in. I cannot believe what I've witnessed around me. There were moments in the fourth quarter where I couldn't hear myself think. I don't even know if you can hear me on the microphone. What a night at the Kaseya Center as the Miami Heat take their first game, their first win in Denver, and I know that this crowd right here is ready for an unbelievable party Wednesday night, Game 3 here in the Heat's house. Guys, we'll send it back to you in the studio.
Oh my gosh, Jeremy Taché doing that on 1 tank of oxygen.
Not a single breath taken. He was like one of those free divers that go down for 20 minutes at the bottom of the ocean. It was a record. And if you're listening just by audio and not watching, what you didn't see in that noise is there were 11 actual babies tossed in the air. Just infants
Seems
that were.
reckless.
It does. But hey, it's game 2.
Right.
Wait till game 7 of this thing.
Right.
11 babies, a fetus.
It's not going 7. I said 5. I mean,
That's right.
You did mention that.
Yeah.
The energy was actually insane. I don't remember any of that. I feel like I blacked out as that happened. It sounded like I was losing my voice. I wasn't losing my voice. I literally was just unhinged. I don't remember it. It was really amazing.
You blacked out. Excellent work by you, blacking out as a impartial observer of games.
Well, you can't be impartial if you're holding a microphone that says Heat TV.
My job
Right.
is sales
and
in that.
high-fiving
You're
people.
emceeing.
Yeah.
Emceeing is really sales.
I'm
right?
there.
Yeah.
I'm there to make sure everybody's ready to be at games 3 and 4. I'm there to make sure that everybody is ready to be at the road rally. Bally Sports, the heart of the fan.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Would the Zeller minutes look the same if you replaced him with a newborn giraffe?
Or that newborn baby that was being hoisted into the air.
The giraffe would just be more distracting. I feel like we'd have more success.
No,
It'd be
Zeller's plenty distracting.
Porter
He's right
Jr.
now.
would be like, why is there a giraffe on the court?
No. Listen to me. Zeller is a strong human being. He is a big human being. And when he starts bowling balls. Joel Embiid's 3-year, $193 million extension begins next season, which made these comments from Joel Embiid with his colicky baby super confusing.
VJ is going, I know, and, I'm going to talk to him. He's going to be better. And he was amazing for his first year. Tyrese is going to be better. And he's taking a step every single year. PG that we saw the last couple of weeks, he still got it. And then everybody else, I don't know who's going to be here. I don't even know if I'm going to be here, but, whatever happens, happens.
What are you smiling about?
Has a player doubted what team he's going to play for next season before the contract that he just signed begins? That's what we're talking about here. He doesn't know if he's going to be a Sixer next season. His new contract hasn't even started yet. I don't think I've ever heard of that before.
I've got some stats here from the Knicks, and I want you guys to tell me which is the most impressive of these stats. Best point differential through the first 10 games of a postseason. The Knicks are plus 194. The next best ever is the 2017 Warriors. I think that's the team I said when I saw it play. That's the best team I've ever seen. They were plus 170. So the Knicks are 24 points better than the Warriors were in 2017. This is the longest postseason win streak in the 80-year history of the New York Knicks. This is from Josh Dubow of the AP. There have been 8 times in the play-by-play era since 1997 that a team led a road playoff game by more than 40 points. 8 times. The Knicks have done it in 2 of their last 3 playoff road games. And the last game they just played, the 1.459 points per possession, it falls just short of the NBA playoff record.
It was such a good time to be a Philly sports fan a week ago.
Knicks would have dog walked the Celtics. I'm sorry. Let's call a spade a spade.
They beat them last year. They were built to beat the Celtics, and they will have it tougher against Detroit. But the way that they look is super impressive. Tony's still not convinced about anything Detroit related.
Look, I love Cade Cunningham, but I think if you're picking guys in series, like even with the Cavs, I'd probably pick Cade first, and then everybody else would be a Cav for the next 3 or 4 or 5 players, right? I'm looking at the Knicks the same way. I'd probably take Cade, then Brunson, then Cat, then OG, then I'm going a long ways away before I take Asur Thompson,
They're
right?
going to
Like,
win the East, New York.
New York has the best shot to make the NBA Finals they've had in the last 25 years.
Yeah, they're going to win the East.
So, 80 years franchise history, the Knicks have won a total of 6 playoff games by more than 25 points. But over the past 2 weeks, during their 7-game winning streak, the average margin of victory is 26.4 points. If I put the Celtics uniforms on this Knicks team, the way it's playing, you'd say that team could beat OKC.
This also marks the 3rd consecutive year where Dan says this is the best time to be a Knicks fan since that Larry
They've
Johnson
gotten better
team.
for 4 years. They've gotten better every year for 4 years.
I know, but like we gotta get used to it. They were in the Eastern Conference Finals last year, and like Halliburton had like an Eastern Conference Final like moment after moment after moment.
Now, the real question is, because they did this last year after the Knicks advanced past the second round, are they naming the streets in Manhattan after Knicks players? That's what you do when you win a second-round playoff series. You change the names of the streets to the players.
Mike is not wrong when he accuses me of saying this is the best the Knicks have felt every year for the last 4 years, but they've improved every year. It's actually the way that an ascent tends to look when you get to the finals. You suffer, and then you break through. I know you guys talked last week. I want to bring this up, though. I want to bring it back because I found really interesting the way that people rallied around Charles Barkley as if he were a lovable underdog because Draymond was mean to him. And the part about this that I want to talk about, because I know it was chewed up by everybody last week, is something that I don't think has been chewed up by everybody, which is Draymond was trying to be funny, but he doesn't do funny well because he's, mean.
As we saw last night at the Kevin Hart roast.
Yeah, he's mean and unlikable, and so he'll not be able to replace Charles Barkley on that show because they're not going to make the mistake of going with someone who's just a loudmouth and doesn't have any actual range. But the question I wanted to ask you guys is, think about this for a second. History of sports broadcasting. Give me all the people who are funny, because I find really weird that the sports playground, which should be fun and games, doesn't have more funny people in it, more people trying funny. And one of the reasons it doesn't have more funny people is because trying funny is the worst thing that you could be on television if you're going to make people wince and cringe, which is what Draymond did with trying to be funny. He made everybody wince and cringe and somehow made the most fun studio show there is. He spoiled it by his mere presence. He's the guy at the great party who does the thing to ruin the great party, and I think cost himself that job. Like, I think that they're making their determination on, no, Charles will be done in a few years, but you can't be the guy because you're not actually someone who's amusing enough. You don't make fun of yourself. You take yourself too seriously. Even when you try to be funny, it's not funny. Give me the list of names. Go ahead. The people who have been in sports. We talked to Jimmy Kimmel about this once, and he says, yeah, everybody's worried about what the television critic is going to write, so they don't take any chances. Jimmy Kimmel was on, Monday Night Football one time for 5 minutes, and it sounded different than anything Monday Night Football has ever done because all of a sudden, near the serious stuff, you had the funny guy. But give me the names you associate with funny in sports, history of sports broadcasting.
Well, I'll tell you right now, like Paul Bissonnette's good right now.
Yes. He and Charles have nailed, and it's a testament to Turner's production, that these guys go for funny and they deliver on funny.
And they come off likable.
And yes, it's because sometimes people overshoot the mark, but the funniest things in sports are usually things that are characters that were unintentionally funny, like John Madden and then Gruden, and they kind of find their zone, and people tune in because they make them smile. But that's just them naturally doing that, not trying to be.
Bill Walton.
I was going to say Bill Walton was that, yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Ray Hudson, not funny.
Again, in that same class of like, this guy's just brilliant. Actually, you could say that Ray Hudson's trying to be funny, because he certainly works and writes those things out.
Yeah, Kruko is funny. I mean, the Giants broadcast. Baseball has more room to do it, right? Benetti's funny. Baseball has more room to do it.
I'm stealing from our YouTube chat now. Bob Euchre, people are throwing in.
It's rare, though. It's my larger point, and it's strange, right? So I was in Los Angeles last week, and I want to talk to you guys about the Kevin Hart roast last night because Netflix is doing something that I find just fascinating because Netflix has just purchased comedy, and really what they've done is saved comedy, right? Because if late night is going to be gone and if Joe Rogan is going to be fading as a place where comedians break out, Netflix is there to save all of comedy by doing the smart thing and just realizing that all of these comedians have their own audience. You can make a special relatively cheap. You put it on Netflix and all of a sudden comedy has a whole lot of money flowing through. But last week in LA, all of America's biggest comedians, all of them, purchased by Netflix, were in Los Angeles, and all of them were having trouble selling out their shows because there were so many comedians performing in Los Angeles last week. And I'm surprised that sports, which ought to be a playground, doesn't have more funny in it where you're getting Walton dead, Euchre no longer in the game. You're naming people and you're going into the past to get them. I'm giving you a couple of baseball names, but to me, it's super strange. And I'm asking you guys, isn't it strange to you guys that sports doesn't have more shows and people who are going for funny?
Dan, a lot of the people that are those positions are kind of dorky.
Dan,
right?
shh, this is our lane.
It's people that are comedians go be funny somewhere else. Like, right? Like every rapper wants to be an athlete. Every athlete wants to be a rapper. There's a reason why there's only one lane for you to be in. You can't be a comedian, but then also be, heading Houston Astros broadcast.
I'm not saying be a comedian. I'm saying where are the people that you just simply associate with lighthearted and not serious and just names that you associate with that person's entertaining.
Right, but I'm going to ask you an honest question. Isn't there too much of that going around in sports? Everyone is trying to replicate some derivative of the Inside the NBA, Fox NFL coverage, jocular. Here's an entertainment segment.
Are
College
you including
Game Day.
the athlete podcast? Is that what you're saying?
I think that I saw Awful Announcing doing something on this, that all the studio shows have just gone for funny. And most of them are just not funny and also not informative and seem to make sports fans feel a certain type of way. I got an original idea because there's so many funny options out there. Why doesn't someone try to do more of what Amazon does with its basketball stuff? Like, just if I am watching this, I want a free base on insight and analytics and expertise. Give me the hardcore stuff.
I think there's a lot more of that than funny.
I don't.
See, I think Mike's
don't.
right that people are trying to, but nobody's doing it. So
I
I
don't.
like, who are the actual funny ones though? Like, I agree that people they want their Barkley character. Every studio show wants their Barkley. I get what Mike is saying, but they're failing at it. So there aren't that many options out there that you're like, that's funny.
There are great shows that are able to do both. Like, I think College Game Day kind of found this lane. It took them a little bit, and they're still kind of navigating a post-Corso world. But there are a couple of segments. There's one that Wiley produces with Nick Saban where it's with Reese Davis, and you are getting incredible stuff there to the point that you're like, I kind of wish this was a little bit more of the show and a little less giving away money, but at least I get that nutritional value. When I go to a soccer match, I'm learning most of the time. But Paramount Plus, this is actually the Paramount Plus Champions League studio show should be talked about a little bit more. I know you guys... I mean, getting you to watch it with the sound on is probably a laborious ask, right? But if you were to ever give that a chance, you'd find a way to be entertained and certainly learn something because soccer is a little bit different. But I like being able to get nutritional value when I'm getting hyped up for a sport.
But you guys are talking about two different things, right? Because I think what you are talking about when you say a lot of people are going for X, it's chemistry that they're going for, and most don't have it. chuckle fests or faking laughter because you have to help your teammate is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about give me a name you associate it with funny, because John Madden's not even that, but I'll give you entertaining on John Madden. He wasn't funny, but he was entertaining. Euchre,
Gruden was a laugher.
Gruden, yeah.
Euchre, Bill Walton, and Gruden. But part of the reason that that's happening, okay, I guess Walton and Euchre are different. Gruden, you get funny because the bar is so low on expectations for funny with Gruden that he climbs over a very low bar. Euchre and Bill Walton were just funny to listen to because they had a little bit of comedian in them. But I still do find it weird, like genuinely weird, that this wouldn't be a space that many broadcasters, in order to stand out, it would be easier to stand out by being funnier than everyone than to have better information or insight than anyone. Being funny would be easier than being at the trough and being smarter than everyone else.
Biz got there by being funny, and if you look at his NHL career, there's really no reason to say he is worthy. I mean, he sits next to Wayne Gretzky. He sits next to all-time greats on that dais, and he is the best part of that show because he is the most entertaining. He is the funniest. He delivers on a high expectation of being funny and entertaining every time.
But I would argue he's just being genuine. I don't think he's going for one-liners, and he's just being himself.
He does
and he's
physical
entertaining
comedy, and he dresses
No,
up.
he's
but
being regular hockey dressing room guy.
Yeah, yes, and it works because he seems to be the very best at it.
And Zaz, correct me if I'm wrong. Last week we talked to Amin and Dave was here, and it's like the realization that you're not funny is something that people don't really get. Right, so when you're growing up and you're like, oh man, I'm funny, people are laughing at me, but then you take this job super serious and you get to a point where you're now one of the 50 people on TV talking about sports. You don't have that muscle of like, oh, let me be funny here.
Oh,
because
go be
I've been
funny
just so locked in.
improvisationally when the camera light is on and you don't know what's going to be said next. Not where you can sit around and construct a tweet that you now realize, oh yeah, this is a good copy, I'm going to send this out now. No, being funny on live television, that's hard. And yeah, I think Draymond probably thought he was funny, and he's not.
for Drewski. You say it's hard, but the reason that I would say it's easier than being smarter than everyone else is because of an important thing, right? Comedy as a professional comedian is hard because everyone goes in with the expectation of funny. In sports, there's not that expectation. So you're fully capable of surprising us because the bar is so low and there are so few people doing it well that there's not the burden of having to climb over a high bar where you're walking into the room with the expectation of funny. I think the reason that it doesn't happen more often is because there's nothing worse on television than cringe, and therefore people don't risk it. The degree of difficulty makes it so that they don't even risk that they're going to be someone who makes you cringe. I heard some of you talking earlier about that the Kevin Hart roast on a few occasions made you wince because whatever, Tom Brady's out there and he's not a comedian, or Draymond Green is out there and he's just clearly not a comedian. So where you place them in a room where there's the expectation of funny, they've got no shot, even if you're doing written material for them.
And the tough part is there's the greatest comedians that are there that do this for a actual living with the expectation of funny and then crush and deliver over expectations. And then you got Tom Brady, who won, if I remember correctly, I'm old enough to remember, that he said he wanted to go and be a stand-up comedian. Remember that?
Yes. Blake Griffin has wanted to be a stand-up comedian as well, and there's something about, look, they've got a playground on Amazon where they can do whatever they want. They got all the money in the world, all the success in the world, all the job security in the world, and what kind of chances are they taking? How many chances are being taken where you try and rattle the cages of the people who have certain expectations that aren't funny? And Blake Griffin does not have the room on that show to show anyone that he's actually somebody who can do stand-up comedy.
No, because he's looking around. He's got Steve Nash, who's not an incredibly funny guy. I think Dirk is probably funny in spurts, but like they're really.
You think Dirk is funny?
I think Dirk is funny, right? Dan, would you say Dirk funny?
What actual evidence do you have?
I think he's a funny guy.
He's been good.
He's been good.
I think I think it's really hard for anybody to be funny in their second language. Anybody.
Also
It's-
true.
It's not. I'm not even putting that on Dirk. He's struggling to find some words in English, and that's not something that you can do when you're trying to be amusing.
With that said, though, that studio show, as Mike said, like is one of the better ones that have come out of this new era of streaming for the NBA because they're breaking it down on the court. They're giving you the mind of a two-time MVP in Steve Nash. They're giving you a guy in Dirk Nowitzki who's one of the greatest players of all time. Like it's like you're looking at greatness explained on TV in a way that I wish we got on football. I wish we would get in college football because we get those small things and nuggets from Coach Saban where they kick it out for a 5-minute piece like in the middle of the show when nobody's watching.
There was something else that I was surprised by in Los Angeles. Tell me if you guys are surprised by this at all, okay? I'm not surprised that Louis C.K. is working again and having great success again, given his talent level and given the way that time heals. I am surprised that Louis C.K. was on billboards with brand affiliations being sold actively with brands right next to his name showcasing him while I was in Los Angeles. It's
been a long time.
It has been a long time, but the nature of those crimes are usually something that you allegedly can't come back from if there's indeed cancel culture. And he's not only back, he's all the way back. Like the work itself got comedy, got album of the year. And, he made his way back through a podcast circuit that has less restrictions than the mainstream and has gotten some of its success from feeling freer than the mainstream. But I was still surprised to see his face on billboards. That's not something I thought would have – I didn't think that corporate brands would be forgetful in that regard.
I think he also started before the things that he did were realized. I think he started producing his own specials. Like, didn't he? He used to stream on his own website.
He was way ahead of the curve in trying to get around all the Ticketmaster stuff by making things more affordable and more direct to his fan base. But still, that doesn't explain what I'm saying, which is seeing his face on a billboard and seeing Netflix be okay with his face on a billboard is not something I was expecting.
But Dan, when you look at corporations, they're kind of like stick their finger in their mouth and put it to the wind and see which way it's blowing. And it's like, all right, can we? Is everybody good with putting Louis C.K. on a billboard? Okay, let's do it. Like, it doesn't really matter what corporations do because they have a goldfish mentality when it comes to remembering things of the past and going into the future.
Oh, but usually, though, if it's masturbating around women without their consent, that one is dangerous enough.
They leave that off the billboard.
That you don't get quite forgetful about.
Although that would get people's attention.
Well, I just think it's word association with him. It's almost the first thing. Like, I don't even know what you guys – if I do word association with Louis C.K.
I go stand up.
I think of red hair.
You go funny, red hair, or crime.
I got to be with Dan here. I think about the masturbating.
Really?
It's just such an unusual, weird thing to be publicly accused of and to be doing in private that I thought he'd be able to work again in time. I did not think that it would be forgotten. Because once you're saying that corporations put their finger up and test the wind, if you test these winds, what's coming back is some visuals of this guy in a corner masturbating around people who didn't want
Not a
him
great visual.
masturbating.
I get it. Not a great visual. But when you get the name.
Terrible visual.
But when
Is
you
he
get
behind a plant?
No, he's out in the open, which is what makes it bad.
Into a plant.
I knew there was a plant involved.
Speaking of affordable, because we were talking about
You
that.
knew there was a plant involved, huh?
Speaking of affordable, I want you guys to guess, because you've heard me complaining recently, as many people are, about just the ridiculous prices everywhere. But I saw something. After buying an $8 bottle of water that I have not seen before, which is just a regular turkey sandwich.
Welcome to LA.
Not a special turkey sandwich, just a regular turkey sandwich. You guys want to guess what I saw the price of for just a regular turkey sandwich? Not a foot long, not a hoagie, not anything like that. You want to take a guess, and I'm telling you that it was outrageous. Take a guess for what an airport turkey sandwich cost in Los Angeles.
$2.50.
You play the game very well. It's higher than that. Guesses. Keep going.
$25.
I'm just still marveling at you eating in an airport.
Airport food is
lounge guy
pretty
Dan?
taxed, famously.
I didn't eat this
Okay,
because of
You
the
don't got that
expense.
Sky Club?
Good for you.
Because of
Good
the
for you.
expense.
Stand up to the man.
You took a stand?
LAX, I'm going to say $23.
Higher?
No way.
What? Is this a combo? You're getting chips and a drink?
Nope.
Was this Wolfgang Puck's?
No, it was
This
a
is
place
all you can
called
eat.
Earth. URTH.
Natural.
Oh, they got your ass there, yeah.
Earth.
Oh, you
the way
would-
that Conor
organic
McGregor says
alien
it.
Earth.
Farm to table.
Wow. So, all right. So that's a farm to table. Yeah. 31.
No, it was $25.30. Roy got it, and I just ignored him because he played the game wrong. You're saying you're taking thank yous and everything else, but I needed you to go lower because when I go only 30 cents higher than what you've
He
got.
already went $2.50. What would we do?
Alien Bert.
I put together a top 5 of the best studio shows presently in all of sports.
Nice.
We begin with OLI. Prime's NASCAR coverage. Now, I have learned that NASCAR itself, like the UFC, basically produces 95% of all the races that you see, and all that separates all the different broadcasters are the window dressings and shows pre and post. Well, Prime did a really good job with its one season. We're coming up to their next opportunity here. Loved the access, loved the superstars. Dale Jr. was really good in his first year. So this will be a common theme. Prime's really good at this studio show thing because number 5 is Prime's NFL coverage. Great stuff. And when they go for funny, it's usually with Marshawn Lynch, and everybody likes him. Ryan Fitzpatrick, Andrew Whitworth. These guys are really, really great. Chris is a great host.
Good Tony Gonzalez guy?
Yeah. Well, we know how he got it. Number 4, inside the NHL. Turner's coverage. Again, I mean, a gold standard. One thing that you won't see, though, is inside the NBA. It's fallen off that much for me. Number 3, another big reason why is the best NBA coverage belongs to Amazon Prime. Their NBA coverage has been really good. I like that we've had a new sampling of studio shows. I don't have a problem with it. I think NBC's in-game coverage and presentation still slaps, but the studio show Prime continues a hot streak. Number 2, Paramount's Champions League coverage. Incredible hosts, great panel, informative, funny. Everybody really gets along. In terms of chemistry, probably the best chemistry in a standard studio show. And number 1, no surprise here, gold standard now, College Game Day.
Did you guys talk at all about Amazon just buying 3 Duke basketball games and changing? Basically, Duke's going to do some of what Notre Dame did, which is we're powerful enough as a brand to be just making our own deals, and we're bigger than college basketball. We don't have to be something that exists within college basketball. We'll make our own deal and just give 3 games to Amazon. I was flipping through yesterday and was surprised. Watched a Marlins-Nats game on Peacock. I'm like, why is this on Peacock?
Yeah.
When did Peacock?
Fanta was there.
When did Peacock get? First of all, why is this game being televised nationally? 2 sub-500 teams, the Nationals and the Marlins.
Dan was on NBCSN on YouTube TV, in which you can also find the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz on presently.
Well,
I get surprised by that every time.
I'm going to tell people where we are, everywhere we are, because we're on in more places than we've ever been. So it's the DraftKings network, and you can also get us on Samsung TV Plus, the Roku channel, Vizio Watch Free Plus. To find all the places you can watch, go to the DraftKingsNetwork.com, DraftKingsNetwork.com, but also you can watch us on Peacock and NBC Sports now, Monday through Friday from 12 to 3 Eastern, and on YouTube, of course, right now. And for podcasts, we're on Apple, we're on Spotify, we're on Amazon Music, and Sirius XM Channel 85. So we're in a lot of places.
I'm everywhere.
You can get us wherever it is that your menu choices are. I wanted to talk about something here. Bobby Cox represents or represented, now that he has passed away at the age of 84, a dinosaur from another time when the manager mattered in a way the manager will never matter again. And also, I believe he now has an unbreakable record. Tony, can you tell me who is in second place? Because I believe it's going to be one of the most unbreakable records in sports, which is 158 ejections. He was ejected from almost a season's worth of baseball games.
Would have loved him to get to that full season mark. That's something he left on the field, I'd say.
Number 2, I'd like to know who was second, because that is now over, right? With instant replay,
Lou Piniella.
You're just simply that's a good guess. I don't think that we're going to come close. Can you guys find video, please, of Lou Piniella just coming out and grabbing second base and throwing it into center field? Because just get that video of Lou Piniella. But it does.
When baseball was baseball.
Is there anyone else in triple figures for ejections? Where's
McClendon?
Second place ever.
I'm looking at John McGraw in second place with 131. Bobby Cox, according to a large language model here, Bobby Cox had 162.
I think that I saw this on X yesterday. It's regular season. If you include playoffs, I believe he did get to 162.
So he was thrown out of 4 playoff games as well.
I believe
he was ejected from 4
playoff games. It was 158
playoff
regular season.
Dan, you often talked about the Superstation. That was a tough week for anybody who grew up with the TBS Superstation, because those 90s Braves represented something to everybody. You either hated them or you loved them, but it brought out a lot of emotion from you. They were in every world championship discussion, probably didn't live up to their expectations, but they were good every year during the 90s. Ted Turner and Bobby Cox in the span of 5 days, that's a little bit of the 90s dying.
The 80s Braves introduced me to cable television. I don't think Ted Turner ever won a Pulitzer. I don't think CNN ever won a Pulitzer, but my information has been wrong.
Let me look that up. Hold on
this. I do believe, though, that Ted Turner managed at least one Braves game. He was in the dugout and tried to do ostrich races as well. I believe they had ostriches on the field running around. But that's an unbreakable record now, right? With instant replay, no one will ever get to 158 or 162 ejections again.
The
correct?
next active manager is Terry Francona, and he is currently sitting at 54. He's got a ways to go, but he better get angry.
Now, Aaron Boone is on a much better pace than Terry Francona. Like, Aaron Boone is only 7 ejections behind, and he's done like a third of the games that Francona has. So I'd say if there's anyone that can fight this good fight, it is Aaron Boone, but I don't even think he has a chance.
Who's the clubhouse leader and respectfully disagreeing?
I don't think in the modern age with technology, I think this makes it something that no one's going to be able to get to, because even Aaron Boone, though he gets ejected, I've got to assume empirically ejections are way down, correct?
Yes, they have to be.
They just
not even going to look it up. They are.
Don't have to look it up?
Come on. Challenges, they got to be down. Let's just all assume they're down.
You could get ejected if you challenge the ABS, even though it's completely right, but then you lose your mind and then get kicked out, right? That'd be an easy way to get kicked out.
All right, fine, I'll look it up.
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to happen 158 times is my only point. I have not talked yet about hockey, and there were a couple of things that I wanted to bring up. I don't know how you guys feel about Carolina being like OKC, where they have not lost a single playoff game yet.
I hate the Carolina Hurricanes. I can't believe this is going to work out for them. Just like, let's just hope Florida gets injured. It actually worked out for them. Yeah. I hate this NHL playoff format that allows Carolina to do exactly what they did last year, by the way, too, and fool everybody that they might be championship good just because they benefit from a bad NHL playoff format that sees them go through the 8 and 7 seeds to get to an Eastern Conference final.
The only difference, Dan, is this year in the Eastern Conference final, unlike 2 of the last 3 years, they're not going to run into the Florida Panthers, who would take that ass again.
The other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about, it's not just Carolina, but I know you guys hate Tampa as well.
Oh, yeah.
And the story involving Victor Hedman, I want to get into this because he's the captain of their team. And he missed the last 22 games of the season, including the 7 playoff games. And he did so because he said he needed to take care of his mental health, which is something that everyone can get behind. I just don't think of hockey where you're expected to play through everything, no matter what it is that's happening with you, but especially if you're the captain.
I think that makes you believe it's pretty serious, right?
I just can't imagine what it must be for someone to take care of themselves like that, to go against all of the pressures that are in all of your patterns culturally in that sport, to say, I'm feeling frail, I am not available to my teammates, and I'm the captain. I'm the captain of the team. Now, I don't know if you think he would have made a difference in a 7-game series, but I think of the locker room for hockey, and especially when I read his quotes and he's talking about the toll that hockey takes, when it's taking, one would assume, largely the same toll on everyone who is in that locker room with him. The specifics of being the captain in that sport, the culture of that sport, the amount of strength that it requires while feeling weak to say, I cannot do anything at the end of this season. I am not available to my teammates during the difficult time of everyone is playing broken at this time of year. I'm curious how that one goes over in the locker room, where they have more information that we do about what's going on in his life, which I imagine must be incredibly serious for him to do what he just did, because I'm trying to think of the place in sports where more is required of you on this particular front than captain of a hockey team. Because I think captain of a hockey team means more than it means anywhere else. Football, basketball, wherever it is that you think of captains, I think, and Roy, you could speak to this, you can talk to the culture, about the culture of pressure involved with what is demanded of you when you're the captain. And one of the things that's demanded of you is you're available.
Yeah, absolutely. He's basically the extension of the coach. He's able to talk to the referees. And in a 7-game series, which they went through with Montreal, which they lost 2-1, he absolutely would have made a difference in that series.
My guess is he's captain of the team. He's been on the team for 17 years. My guess is that the guys in that dressing room are like good with it.
Yep.
They know that this. I'm sure I would imagine they actually know what's going on, and they probably know it's something that's very serious.
Over the last 3 years, there's over a half a dozen examples in that sport in particular where players are granted mental health breaks. Hockey's actually pretty good about this. We experienced it down here when Spencer Knight was going through it. What's rare is when you see it be a team captain, a guy who's going to have his jersey retired by that franchise, a championship-winning player, come out and say, and when you say it was a 7-game series, he certainly could have helped. They've had to navigate there was always something weird going on with Victor Hedman. You didn't really know if he was actually hurt, and hockey's so secretive about injuries, and guys play through insane stuff all the time that you just thought it was this nagging physical injury that had to be pretty bad for their captain and not be out there. Now, it was pretty bad, but it was between the ears.
Football and hockey, the violent physical sports where you're doing, borderline crazy, inhumane things to make sure that you get out there. Can I count on the guy next to me? Is a giant part of the culture. And to go into the playoffs and have a 7-game series, they have more details than we do. And I am not questioning here, because if someone has to take a mental health leave for that amount of time, I am going to give that person grace. I'm just less sure than you guys are, given what the culture of the sport is, that the other guys don't look at him and say, why couldn't we count on you with the last 22 games we had left, when we're former champions, when we've just watched the defending champion Florida Panthers go down, and there's an opening here for a team that had a chance, to go through the Eastern Conference, because it was good enough to get through the Eastern Conference.
Well, you got to look at it on the other side now, because he viewed himself as a liability going through this. So obviously the team understood that he's going to have to take a little leave of absence so he doesn't hinder what would have been, a possible 7-game win.
It's the most important point, that he felt that he would be a net negative out there in their pursuit of a cup. And It's a unique situation because not only is he a champion for this franchise, a retired Jersey-capable player, but also that team, they've been through a lot of runs together. It is a veteran team. They know what Victor Hedman is made of, and they probably were in full support.
We're in a real new age, though, a real new age when it comes to mental health, when a captain of a hockey team does this quietly.
Streams throughout the rest of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Please join us as we get to enjoy all the teams that are left here in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Dave, are you ready?
I am thrilled. I'm exhilarated. I'm excited. I'm psyched. I'm ready.
What about you, Rosie?
I can't wait to pick my team. Woohoo!
It's the second round. You're
No.
picking a team.
I'm picking a team now.
Ethan,
Bye-bye.
Ethan, what about you?
Always fired up to watch some playoff puck, Roy.
All right, the hockey show. We're doing live streams of the Stanley Cup playoffs throughout the end of the playoffs. Please join us.